Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Hey, welcome to our On the Road episode of the Marketing Your Practice podcast, the podcast where I get to simplify the marketing and the mindset for us chiropractors so that we can increase our income, our impact, and our enjoyment in practice too. Now, you might notice the audio's a little bit perhaps not as high a quality. There's going to be some background noise as well going forwards. But hopefully the message I have to share with you will be helpful regardless of all of that. Now, I'm recording this at the moment in Ireland, Limerick in Ireland, and I'm here watching the Under 21 World Lacrosse Championships. So my son, Edison, plays lacrosse and has his entire life, and this event was meant to be happening back in 2020 until we got pandemicked, and it's gone from an under 19 to an under 20 championship. Anyway, so I'm here at the moment. Our boys have made the quarterfinals. We've been given an absolute lacrosse lesson from both the US and Canada. They're so much better than us, but that's perhaps to be expected given that we're a small lacrosse playing nation. But hopefully if our boys do really great, they will play for a bronze medal. By the time this episode comes out, we will know that. So maybe I'll pop something in the show notes because I can do that at the last moment. So anyway, in today's episode, I wanted to chat about purpose. This was a conversation that has come up a bit recently in some of the community influencer group coaching. I've been asked this question in around purpose. Do I know any good books on purpose? How do I find my purpose? Is purpose important? Purpose? Now I sound like a poipus. Purpose, is it important? So yes, let me start with this. Having some clarity in around purpose is incredibly important because purpose is a North Star. It helps to drive us through difficult times. Otherwise, we become these very basic animals that are driven by sometimes just pleasure and pain. And when we have purpose, it helps to drive us through the very difficult times. It's one of the things that can help us do difficult things. It can help us get out of bed early in the morning, stay up late at night. It can help to build courage, all those things if we have purpose. Now, I have struggled with this for a long time, and I've read lots and lots of books. And when Rob asked me a question about, what books do I know that might help with purpose, I said, none, Rob. I feel like I've read them all, and obviously I haven't read them all. But here's where my journey started with regards to this too. I saw many of my mentors, both inside of chiropractic and outside of chiropractic, talk about the importance of purpose, like I was just saying beforehand. Many of them had this magic. I thought about Mother Teresa's purpose to feed the poor, to be a guardian for them. And I loved what that did for her. And so I saw both chiropractors and non-chiropractors talking about the importance of purpose. And so I read a lot about it. I studied a lot about it. I spent weekends taking myself away. In fact, I took myself away for a week at one stage and just wrote. And I was putting together a purpose and a mission statement for my practice at the time there. And even when I read back on them now, they're beautiful. I love the language. I like what I was talking about inside there, but there was a mismatch for me. It was like trying to put on a pair of shoes that weren't my shoes. I don't know if you've ever worn anybody else's shoes, but when their feet have kind of imprinted in them, when you put your foot in them, even if they're the right size, they just don't feel right. And this is what I noticed with this purpose. I now know what I was missing, and I'll tell you exactly what it was in a moment there too. But it never really felt right, and as a result of it, I would have to come back, and then we wouldn't kind of have a big part of the practice. The other interesting thing is I talk with lots of chiropractors about, do you have a purpose or a mission statement? And many of them say, yes, we do. And then I ask them, what is it? And they go, hang on, let me get it out of my drawer for you, or get it up on my computer. If you have a purpose and or a mission statement and you don't know what it is, it's pointless. Okay, so a purpose and a mission statement is a living document. It's something that you need to know exactly what it is, and you should be able to kind of reel it off. Like when I ask you, when I share what my purpose is with you in a moment, you'll see how simple it is, easy for me to remember, and it's a great guiding North Star for me. So that might be the first thing to think about. You might go, yeah, look, I've got a purpose and I know what it is. Let me just get it for you. If that's the case, then maybe you need a little bit of work with that as well. So here's the first reason why I was struggling with purpose. Now, this might match for some of you and maybe not too, is I was trying to fit my life's purpose into chiropractic. I was trying to have chiropractic be the reason why I did everything. Now, for some of you, it will be. Now, I don't let this be a reflection. I feel like this is part of me, what caused a lot of the problems. That too, I love chiropractic. Like, I'm as passionate about chiropractic as almost anybody that I know. But chiropractic is one of the things that I do. As a human being on this planet, doing life, chiropractic is not who I am. It's one of the things that I chose to do. And when I tried to make it my purpose and my sole mission in life, there was something about it that just didn't fit right. And that was the challenge for me. Now, the moment this is interesting because I see this with a lot of chiropractors, and there's almost a sense of guilt that they have. And then when they hear me say this, there's a relief that they have. So for some of you, hopefully this can get rid of some of the guilt. If you feel like, even though that you love chiropractic, that you're super passionate about it there too, but if you know that this is not your life's purpose, that's totally okay. You know, it's been said that our kids that are growing up now will have not just multiple jobs, but they'll have multiple careers. Now, again, I know it's a little fumbly here today as I'm sharing this with you. This doesn't mean that if chiropractic is not your purpose, that you might not choose to be a chiropractor for your entire life. In fact, let me just jump ahead and talk to you about the breakthrough that I had with regards to purpose. And I wish, in preparing for this episode, I was really trying to work out what led to the breakthrough. I had a realization when people ask me what my purpose is now, I talk about expansion. That's it. I think the reason human beings and the purpose that human beings have on this planet is to expand and grow, full stop. And so for me, everything in my life, I run through that filter. Is there expansion and growth there? And if there is, then it's something that I'm interested in. And it seems this concept of expansion and growth as human beings is something that has been going on forever, you know, right since the very beginning. If you think about the best that we know at this stage here is that human beings as we know of us now started off in the African continent, and we wanted to expand. We didn't stay there, which is why there's human beings all around the planet now, is because we pushed ourselves, even when we were comfortable in those times. You know, we had our lovely little hunter-gatherer tribes, we had our caves, we had our setup, we had our area there too. There's always been this thing about expansion, about growth that's happening. And again, if you think about almost on a cellular level, you know, I've heard Bruce Lipton talk about this too. If we're not growing, okay, then we're dying. And literally on a cellular level, you can't be growing just a little bit, going a little bit forwards and a little bit backwards. We're either in growth and expansion, or if we're in retraction, then there's death happening on some level there too. So the first realization for me, and the first aha moment, was just this idea that my mission, my purpose on life could just be growth and expansion. And that for me means that as I go through this journey on this beautiful little blue ball that we're on at the moment, is I'm looking for opportunities to become more of myself, to express more of myself, to grow, to do difficult things, for me to brush off and chip away layers. I don't want to be so arrogant as to say that when, you know, Michelangelo said, you know, when he was talking about David the sculpture, that David was always in there, that all he needed to do was kind of chip away at the marble so he could reveal that. I think that's the case for most of us as human beings. There is brilliance in us that wants to express itself. And I think the reason that we're here on this planet Earth is for us to find that and for us to chip away and for us to express it. And that's what I think my game is now. Now, with regards to that, then when I come down different levels, I have other levels of purpose statements inside of that might be, you know, a little closer to, you know, some of the purpose statements that, I'm just checking that I'm recording here. If you're watching the video of this, then I'm just checking that I'm recording. Now, so inside of the work that I do here with the Marketing Your Practice podcast and with Community Influencer and the coaching work that I do, my purpose inside of that is to be the best provider of social media training for chiropractors so that I can influence the lives of 1 million people. So that's it. You know, by helping chiropractors get more attention and more impact in their communities to grow their reach, my goal through that is to reach 1 million people. So I have this big overarching umbrella that is called growth and expansion. And then inside of that, I have another purpose statement, okay, to be the best provider of social media training so that chiropractors can increase their reach and therefore we can serve 1 million people. Now in that too, I was reading recently a book called Cult Status, written by an Aussie guy called Tim Duggan. He talks about one of the things of the new brands that is coming out at the moment is that not only do they have real clarity in around their purpose statement there too, but they have an impact statement. And really all he's meaning by that is an impact statement has a number in it. So like I said beforehand, through the work that I'm doing here, through the podcast, through the coaching, through helping chiropractors, I want to bring 1 million people into chiropractic. That's it. That would be called an impact statement. I had another chiropractor I'm working with at the moment to bring his purpose statements together for the practice there too. And all of a sudden it gets pretty damn exciting because, if I had have said to you, I want you to impact the lives of 50,000 people, you might go, well, that's a lot of adjustments. That's a lot of new patients. But that would depend on what impact is. Could be impacting them towards, growth and flourishing and those kind of things. Could you do that through social media? Could you do that through your videos? So when you realize, and when I realized too, that I could have different layers of purpose, then there was a tremendous amount of freedom for me. And so before I start any venture now, I always go through this purpose statement thing underneath the umbrella of beginning with first growth and expansion. And then I pop it in underneath that and I go, okay, what is the purpose of this business that we have right now? What is the purpose of our chiropractic practice? What is the purpose of the business, the podcast that I have now? Now, these things here are tremendously motivating. And then as a part of that, the next thing that I like to think about too are, what are my values? Because I think once we have our purpose statements, once we have some clarity in around that too, and I'm going to use the words purpose and mission kind of intermingled through there as well. And then I know there's then vision statements. And again, I've read so much in around this, and very often it gets so confusing. We have all of these different vision statements in terms of this thing that I'm leading towards that I'll probably never ever get, always reaching towards, never achievable. That to me doesn't sound all that inspiring. Okay, if I'm heading towards something I'm never going to get as well. But these purpose and mission statements can be interchangeable there too. All right, let's talk about values a little bit there too, because values also fit in really nicely. I think we have an individual purpose or mission statement, when mine, as I talked about before, is growth and expansion. In underneath that too, at different kind of projects that I'm working on, if I call this a project with the ADIO media and the podcast there too, again, it's to be the best provider of social media training, impact the lives, bring 1 million people into chiropractic. And then underneath that too, I have the values that I want this business to run through too. Now, the values that I've chosen for this are fun. First of all, this is something that I might not have thought about 20 years ago. But now, if it's not fun, then I don't want to do it. Now, it doesn't mean it's fun all the time, because there are times that it's not. It's difficult to do. But whenever possible, I want it to be fun. Humility is another one. I don't want to, I've noticed that whenever I take myself too seriously, whenever I see other people taking themselves too seriously, the universe tends to give us a correction some along the way. And so I like to remind myself as often as possible to be humble, which is why you'll very often, hopefully, find me sharing not only the good things that are going on for me, but the behind the scenes too, where I'm struggling, the difficulties that I have there too. Integrity is important to me. Integrity is one of those things that has been a value of mine since high school, when I really thought about this is important. It's part of my friendships, all those things there too. Then I've got some C words here as well: courage and commitment and community and curiosity. There you go, if I can say this. Curiosity is a value that's, in particular the last 3 years, is something that I've really taken on. You might hear me talk about being curious or fascinated all the time there too. These are things that really, instead of beating myself up when I'm having a rough time, when I'm having a difficult time, or if I see something that's confusing for me the way that somebody else is behaving, instead of me getting all judgmental about it too, I choose curiosity. Isn't that interesting that someone would behave that? Isn't that fascinating? So values. So I guess I wanted to share this message here with you because particularly when I was talking with my coaching clients, when they understood that there could be something as broad but yet as powerful as their life's purpose being growth and expansion that sits on top of their chiropractic purpose, for many of them it gave a great sense of ease and relief. It freed them up. It didn't mean that they loved chiropractic any less or that they weren't as committed to their practice. It just meant that they didn't need their whole entire identity to be a chiropractor. Okay, chiropractic is one of the things that I do. Podcasting is one of the things that I do. Being a husband, a father. These are one of the things that I do this week here. I'm a lacrosse observer. These are just parts of my identity too. Those values that I shared before though, they are pretty much life values for me. I tend to not have different values inside of what I want to do inside of my companies versus what I want to do in the rest of my life also. So I want to encourage you. Share with me. What is your life purpose? How does the idea of growth and expansion feel for you? Or for you, is it centered more in around other things? Has it got to do with your faith? Has it got to do with your family? Has it got to do with chiropractic? I'd really love to know. There are ways back on the website here where you can share with me, or you could kind of respond in an email and let me know about what your thoughts are around purpose as well. And if this has been helpful for you, if it has been helpful for you, I would love to know. So the people outside are starting to get a bit rowdy. They're heading off to watch a game. Tomorrow morning, the Aussies play the Japanese. And if we win that one, we end up into the quarterfinal. That'll be against the Canadians. And they gave us a belting first time round. Then after that, if we win, that's a gold medal match. But if we lose that, we play off for a bronze medal match there too. Anyway, folks, I love you all. Thanks for all that you do. I hope this has been helpful for you. Until next time. Thanks for what you do. Keep saving lives. See you real soon. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out my Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work with you to help you apply it, implement it, and systemize it. The Community Influencer Group Coaching Program is designed to help you increase your practice income, impact, and enjoyment. Join me over at anguspyke.com/join. That's anguspyke.com/join. I'd love to see you there.